The A Show.
Where smart is the new sexy.
And now, April Hunter.
Good evening, all you beautiful, smart, and sexy people. Welcome to the A Show. I am your hostess with the mostest, April Hunter, and across from me is my co-host and cousin, Eva D. I'm so happy to see you guys. Sorry we were running late. Do you see this new layout that StreamYard is doing? I don't like it either. So they've decided once again, like everything else out there, if it's not broke, we must fix it. So StreamYard is doing the thing, and we're dealing with the thing. So we were trying to figure out the thing. So that's what's happening here. So yeah. So I see a lot of you in here already. Hello. Tonight we have a very, very exciting show. We have on Jay Kramer. So he is a Techie-Turned-Politician, and he was a J6er. So we have lots and lots of interesting stories. He's going to tell us some good stuff and answer some questions. And, we got a whole entire thing to follow and ask questions. So we're going to learn some stuff tonight, maybe about, the man behind the curtain and how it all really works. So that should be pretty exciting. But I want to, in the meantime, I want to say hi to everybody. I see Steve and Michael, Elon, Bigwig, Alex. Let's see who else is in here. Let's see. I see everybody filtering in still. Allie, Maurizio, cool, awesome dude, Ibzan. Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm so happy to see you guys. So thank you for coming in tonight and keeping us company. So until people get in here, and I know everybody takes a few minutes, we were talking about, and we started on this last week, we're talking about the fact that people have lost the ability to have real debates, real conversations about controversial issues. Without it denigrating to something that it shouldn't be, like name calling or worse. And it's really strange because this is it's basically kind of a recent occurrence. I mean, I would say for generations, people were able to have conversations about this. And then previous to that, I would imagine it was kind of banned depending on if you had free speech or not, or you got shot. But we did have a span there where people could, converse over things. And we had a previous guest, Jason Korsiak, who brought up a really good point. Our therapist that we had on, and he said that this is primarily Americans. Americans handicap themselves because we are taught, from early on, not to talk about politics or religion. So when we grow up our whole lives not being able to talk about politics or religion, just like we grow up our whole lives not being able to touch alcohol, by the time we do get a chance to talk about politics or religion or touch alcohol, we are not very good at it. We have not learned to drink responsibly. And a lot of people end up with DUIs and, some might even end up choking to death on their own vomit. So, and I mean that politically. I mean their political vomit.
Of course.
So this is an issue. And to have really real discourse where you may or may not agree with somebody, but at least you hear them. They're heard, they're understood. It's like having an argument with a friend or a significant other. It's like, listen, I don't agree with your point, but I do hear you and I understand where you are coming from. Like that's as good as it gets, pretty much. Right. Like you have a husband, you have a wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, and they're like da 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 da. And usually the argument is about whatever you're arguing about anyway. It's usually about underlying values underneath not aligning and it coming out through something else. But if you can say, I hear you, I understand you, I can see where it's coming from. But this is why I feel this way. And if you can come to some kind of agreement and respect each other, it's really, really valuable in society. And I think we should handle liquor and politics the same way. Like I see you with that.
Yes.
I see you with that shot. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I understand you want to do 6 in a row. Maybe let's just go with 2.
No. But why, April? Why?
Well,
Give me that bottle.
like
Sorry.
perhaps, there we go. So hi everybody joining us late. Brian, everybody. I saw Winona. Hello. Winona, I'm gonna send you some money to make that thing for me. Winona makes beautiful, beautiful projects. So I'd rather hire somebody I know who does great stuff than hire somebody I don't
I'm
know.
excited.
Yes, I am too.
Wow, this new thing. I look like I have all these bags. I look horrible.
You look real. We're not AI.
Yeah,
You look like a genuine, real human being. So I thought it'd be interesting. Like in school, going back to this topic, in school, one of the things we had to learn in my journalism class was to argue for and against a topic. And thank you, Colossum Dude. Thank you. Thank you for the Corgos. So we had to argue for and against a topic that we believed in and did not believe in. And we had to do it in a realistic way with ethos, pathos, logos. So, I mean, ethical, logical, and with an authority argument, meaning a factual supporting argument. So, using emotion as well. So I thought it'd be interesting to have a little, 1-minute discussion to argue for and against something that we know that we are for and against.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any suggestion on that? Do you want to throw something out there? See if we can do it. See if we can put our money where our mouth is to see if we can do it.
Well, I was going to suggest left lane drivers, but
that's just ethically and morally, and it's illegal on top of that.
Well,
how about something that's ethically and morally a gray area where people feel one way or the other?
Psilocybin mushrooms.
Ooh, that's interesting. But
what do you think?
There's not that many people who are against it.
Well, the drug people in general are. Okay, how about there's so many like small topics.
I know. Anybody want to throw something in there? Yeah, Michael, people do drive too damn slow. You're right.
That was very polite of you to say, Michael.
Yeah. Faster driving is safer driving. That's why they raised the speed limit up across the board nationally from 55 to 70 or 75.
And if you have a Jeep, stay out of left lane.
Oh, Brian's throwing fire out there.
That's a good one.
Transgender. That's a long topic right there.
Well, how about maybe shorten that topic and sex change? Physical sex change.
Yeah, but I have argued this one for and against. I've done it already. It's boring. I've done it.
Okay, how about
it's boring because I do it all the time. I'm very live and let live unless it comes to children. Then it's like,
what is your biggest thing you're against right now?
Honestly, the medical industrial complex and how invasive they become. And quite honestly, I feel like there is an all-out push of ridiculousness for vaccines.
Okay.
And they are very, very unnecessary.
Well, to make it a short 1-minute thing, because that could be really long for both of us. Mm-hmm. Do you have another topic that's been a thorn in your rear?
No, but I could argue for and against vaccines, I think.
Okay.
All right. Which one you want first, for or against?
I don't have a huge medical background or anything. So, all right, I'll go with it. Go.
Okay. I'll argue for it. This is going to hurt me. Okay. All right. In the late 1700s, smallpox wiped out a lot of people. So they created a vaccine by using a bit of the smallpox virus and injecting that into another woman, a woman basically, because they were testing on women, and they found out that they were immune. They also at the same time found out that milkmaids, as they called them, who worked around cows who had cowpox were naturally immune to smallpox as well. So they started experimenting between smallpox and cowpox and found out that if you took a little bit of the virus and injected it into people, they grew a natural immunity against it, and it saved a lot of lives. This later became known as an adenovirus vaccine, and it saved a lot of people's lives. Now, had we stuck to this style of vaccinating, where you just simply take a little bit of the virus and use it to vaccinate, to create a natural immunity, also the same way you get natural immunity from getting the virus naturally, i.e. chickenpox parties, we could do a lot of good and we could help a lot of people. So there's my thing. Unfortunately, we have veered off in the 1980s, in the late 1980s, across the board, we gave the vaccine makers full immunity. So once we gave them full immunity to do whatever they want with no lawsuits and no accountability, we let them do whatever they wanted with the vaccines. And they started adding a lot of different things in there, which they did not have to be accountable for. We all of a sudden saw an outrageous amount of vaccines being pushed onto kids. We saw an outrageous amount of side issues, and I don't want to say side issues because they're main issues, but we saw autism, food allergies, asthma, ADHD go through the roof after that, and absolutely no responsibility taken whatsoever. Additionally, when 75% of your advertising on TV and across the board is pharmaceutical companies, they are going to tell you repeatedly that they are not responsible for any of this. So when you live in a for-profit country with an FDA, a Food and Drug Administration, backing them up, that is winning for the medical industrial complex and losing for the people.
Well, you did both sides right there already.
Yeah, I did.
So, okay. Well, I guess I have nothing else to add, really. I mean, you did it already, so.
Go ahead. You can argue one. Do a minute on both sides of.
Oh, I thought I was supposed to do the one side and you do the other. You did both.
Oh, no. We're supposed to do both sides. You have to. That's the point. You have to be able to do both.
Okay.
Okay. Argue for and against spanking your children.
For it would be, it is a form of traditional discipline to stop them what they're doing, pay attention, understand what they did wrong. It's also something that actually could put fear in where they would stop what they're doing when you threaten them with it. So growing up, I was always in fear of getting spanked. Either it was in school, by family. So it kept me more straight and narrow. Hey, your dad's going to spank you when he gets home. You shouldn't have done that. So that was more fear. I think that kept me straight and narrow. But on the other hand, you had to deal with the fear, which is not good in the aspect of you should not walk around in your household with fear that you might be doing something wrong that your parents may see as wrong. Also, too, that it's not really learning without conversation on your mistake. And some people did a big deal of using a belt, paddles with holes where you had welts, you couldn't sit. So that's where I would say there should have been a more happy medium for it, that I'm against it in some ways where not everybody also deserved it. I didn't think there was a good line of paddling, spanking, etc. So I will say that they should have kept it in schools. It is still in Florida as an option for disciplining your children.
Corporal punishment.
Oh,
I got it a few times.
Yeah, I think I felt that too.
Alabama.
So Florida is one of the states left for that. And I think it should be an option where parents can choose how they want their child disciplined in school, and not just, oh, it's okay, just go home.
Right.
Or immediate dismissal. So anyway, that's part of where I would go with that. There's many more I'd say, but anyway, sure.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. I know a lot of people would argue respect is better than fear, but
I think there should be a line.
Seems like there's a lot of lack of respect out there, and as I learned or was taught in wrestling, pain is a great teacher.
It is.
So you can tell a child a million times, don't touch the hot stove. But until the child touches the hot stove and gets burned and feels that pain, they're not going to learn not to touch the hot stove. So unfortunately, we are human, and humans sometimes need to experience either a physical or emotional pain before they learn their lesson. And I wish it was not like that, but it is. That's the way we are sometimes.
I'm going to add something to that if you don't mind real quick. When you would say a bad word when you were a kid, there was a couple things that were going to come your way, right?
Right.
Either it was explained why it was bad, you were told no, but you didn't understand why, you got spanked, paddled, whatever, sit in the corner, timeout, or there was the thing like I was brought up as you said a bad word, you literally ate a bar of soap. So you learned real quick how bad that shit tastes, and you didn't want to be held over a sink eating a bar of soap. So that being said, yeah, I didn't curse in the house.
Oh man, the comments are hilarious.
Yeah,
real men do it barehanded. Michael says,
there.
"Yeah, you get a whooping." Winona said, "I would add that it should mainly be used where the child does something very dangerous that could harm themselves or others."
Agree.
This, but unfortunately, a lot of parents are freaking stupid and they don't know the difference.
Right.
Wolf asked me if I need a spanking. Always, Wolf. Hello. It's like they said, your kids' punishments are like your as you're an adult, they're your treats. Naps, spankings, all that. And Steve said, when I was in Costa Rica a few years ago, the tour guide mentioned that they still practice corporal punishment in schools, and a lot of people on the bus applauded.
Awesome.
Yeah, and Michael said you can learn a lot from pain. Yeah, unfortunately, it makes your vessel grow.
True.
So that said, it was a good argument. Thank you for that. I know we could do better if we weren't popping it on each other last minute, but it was just for fun. See what happened. And War Demon makes a point. So is fear not the opposite? Fear is or not the opposite of love? It is, actually. You'd think the opposite of love is hate, but it's fear. No, hate comes from fear.
I did quickly look. 17 states still have corporal punishment in America.
Yes. I think only 3 of them use it, though.
There's hope.
Yeah. And the worst part about corporal punishment in schools is knowing that you were going to get, like, everybody teasing you, laughing at you, that you were getting sent down to the principal's office because you had to stand there with your hands on the desk bent over, and that you were getting the ass whooping. And they're like,
And then you're going to go home and get it too.
Yeah, yes, because if you got it at school, you were getting it at home.
No shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, spank them kids.
Yeah. Here's the other one too.
Yeah.
Analysis from spanking. Nice.
Yes, exactly.
Nice play on words. Teachers. Wow. Yeah. Teachers. I mean, the old ruler on the hand or throwing something at you in class. Now they do that.
Catholic school.
No, that was regular school.
Oh, was it?
So anyway, all right, what else you got?
Well, why don't we bring Jay on?
Yes, that sounds awesome.
Let's do that.
Look forward to this.
All right, Jay, hang on. Let me find his oh, come on, work with me here. Of course, now that I can't find my paper. You have the intro, but let me
I do.
Okay. So, like I said earlier, Jay Kramer, he is a techie-turned-politician. He was front and center for J6. He's got an interesting life and a lot of stories. You want to read that first paragraph that he sent you? He's also an ice cream aficionado.
Mainly politically senile pessimist have been active in politics for 35 years. Most recently, Republican Party state committeeman for 8 years, party chairman for 4, mayor of a town twice, council member for 6 years, have ran about a dozen campaigns, including commissioner, state representative, school board, and local offices. My professional experience varies widely. I'm a techie that turned politician that proves this world does not make sense. I started in video game programming, moved to internet access and web hosting, and then worked bankruptcy for DOJ. My passion turned later towards building data centers and hosting, which allowed my curricular activities in politics. After retiring from the tech world, I currently now own several ice cream stores and do fundraising for film festivals.
Oh, that sounds.
I also saw somewhere he was used to be owner in a couple other businesses as well.
Oh, well, I
So,
love talking to
yay.
entrepreneurs. All right, let's bring Jay on.
Hi, Jay.
Hey, ladies. How are
Hi.
you?
Welcome.
Hope you can hear me all right.
We can hear
Absolutely.
you.
Good,
Welcome,
good.
welcome. So nice to see you.
Yes. How you
So-
been?
Well, been doing pretty good. I was kind of worried about the intro there, but it looks like it got a lot of it. So
Uh-oh, what I missed?
What do we miss?
what did you miss? Well, I've done an awful lot in life. So, I mean, it'd take a long time to explain everything. But in any case, mainly I'm here just because, April, I met you during the COVID thing.
Mhm.
You saw through a lot of the baloney, and I just started following you ever since. So it's
Thank you.
been,
These are my
been
day-lip
quite a ride,
glasses.
I can say that. But,
Thank you.
No,
Well, yeah,
I
you-
can answer a lot of the J6 stuff because that's I know that's got a lot of questions and some of the implications that came from it. Interestingly enough, that was done during COVID, so I should have saw the warning signs ahead of time, but didn't. But anyway, I'll let you lead on and see where you want to go with this.
We're going through a hell of a change right now, a hell of a time. So I mean, like you have been in this game, like you've seen the man behind the curtain to some degree, right? Or
Oh,
to-
absolutely.
So you know how this works. So for a lot of people, I would say, tell me if I'm right or I'm wrong, or I'm on track or totally off track. A lot of people are very, very adamant about being party loyal. And you see them all the time blaming this side or that side.
Mhm.
And I feel like if you're still talking about one side or the other, you really don't know how everything is being run.
No, I honestly, if you're going to be on a side, you should be on your own side. Party politics is really a crutch to just aggregate a bunch of people to vote for. I mean, they just get fed the party line, the talking points, and really the politicians don't have to work for that block of voters. I think you got to have the party politics in order to get people elected. But keep in mind, it's as far as the individual, both parties, major parties, are susceptible to lobbyist money, and they're not really there to do your best interest. They're there to help the politics along. They're there to get the politicians in office, and then the politicians are there to serve the money that put them there.
Yeah, I was going to be a lobbyist when I was in Louisville. And then I found out that the lobbyists go to both conventions. So they work with both sides all
They
the
do.
time. And that's when I realized, oh, okay, they're all in this together.
And you'd be surprised that the lobbyists actually write the majority of law in your state. The Florida statutes are written by the lobbyists.
No, I'm not surprised at all, but I think a lot of people are. Yeah, the lobbyists have the money. So people with the money have the law or write the laws, right?
Very true. But surprisingly, I've got a lot of Democrat friends, and we actually talk politics. And some of the things that we talk about is why is it an issue? When did it become an issue? And who the heck is pushing it as an issue? A lot of issues that you find these days, you got to wonder where they came from, and if they've popping up all over the country, somebody spent millions and millions of dollars to do that, and you got to figure out why.
So, why are you not in politics now? If you don't mind me asking.
You guys want the honest answer?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do.
Yes.
Because the biggest utility company in the state of Florida spent $400,000 to kick me out of office, and they
Is
don't.
that FPL
Um,
or Tico?
well, I think Tico got sold out to Duke Energy.
They are owned by a Canadian company now.
Is that the Algonquin one?
I don't believe so.
Okay, I remember Algonquin was in here with, and
Yeah.
basically I was on council, and the Florida Power and Light wanted to buy the utility. I said no, and they spent a ton of money to kick me out. And ever since then, I have kind of stayed low. And I got to say, the January 6th thing really did kind of deflate my tires as well. I can tell you, when the FBI visits you pay attention to it. Which I gotta say, I was really impressed, because April was hitting all these touchy points all during after the January 6th, and I'm thinking, it can happen. The FBI can come knocking on your door and say, start asking you questions.
Oh, I
And
believe
if
it.
you're not ready for it, it's a pretty intimidating thing.
So why did you go? First of all, I mean, before the FBI and stuff, you just went to,
yeah, I mean, I own, like the intro said, I own some ice cream stores, and some of them are up in Pennsylvania. And we just decided we would go there. I guess what's the term? Politophile. I like to go to a lot of different political events, either party, it doesn't matter. I just enjoy going to them. So the morning of January 6th, my wife and I, we jumped in the car, we went down there, and we listened to Trump's speech. I can handle about 15 minutes of it. It's always the same thing over and over. So I actually go there to watch people. And I really watched a lot of people in the crowd, see what the mix was, who was there, who was not there. Surprisingly enough, there was a ton of Asians there protesting China, but my friend says they're always there. But
interesting.
We decided to go there. And actually I wanted to go to the Smithsonian's, but they closed down Washington, D.C., which was really kind of a bummer. That was what I really wanted to go for. But we kind of got caught into this thing, and we walked from the ellipse where the Trump speech was. We walked up towards the Capitol to the reflection pool, and that's when I got the phone call from my sister that we should probably leave. Her husband's a federal police officer, and said that the Capitol had been breached. Interestingly enough, we didn't. The only indication that we knew something was going on was that we could hear the flashbangs going off up at the Capitol. And we did see some kind of nefarious people there, but it was really afterwards that all of a sudden we started to see all of the stuff that was going on, and all of a sudden we could kind of put two and two together as to what was really happening.
Up until that point, what was the vibe like, Jay?
It was, you got to remember, this was a Wednesday afternoon. People were politically charged. The working people weren't there. You didn't have young people. It was all retayees. Which was kind of funny. I mean, either you had people that were there for to create a problem, but the majority of them were just retirees. They were there just to spend time. And grandma and grandpa were there walking the mall, going up to the Capitol, and the vibe was really, really quite pleasant. I mean, you'd go by the Capitol Place, and people would say, "Well, we thank you for your service," and would walk on, and everybody was very friendly to each other. It really wasn't a big deal. I mean, I didn't even think of it as a protest at all. It was only after that all of a sudden I realized there was a lot of stuff going on. But then then on the drive home, all of a sudden we see billboards that are posted there by the FBI that says, "If you've seen somebody at the Capitol, please give us a call."
That quick?
Wow.
It was that quick. I mean, it was January.
Wait, they had the billboards already.
Keep in mind, it was a couple of days. It was a couple of days later.
Okay.
But I was driving 95 back to Florida, and all of a sudden I'm going through some towns, and I'm like, this is kind of weird. If you see somebody there at the Capitol that you're supposed to call the FBI, that was something that I'd never seen before.
Wow. So how long when you were at home? What happened once you got home?
Well, once we got home, that's where things really started getting weird. We started seeing a lot of people that were getting interviewed by the FBI. I had a lot of my friends that the FBI showed up at their door, and they actually invited them in and gave them coffee and sat down and talked to them. And I thought, most people don't realize that when law enforcement shows up at your door, they're not there to prove your innocence. They're there to prove your guilt. That's their job. Right. When they showed up at my door, I told them two things. One, you work for the prosecution, and two, I've got the right to remain silent. And that was it. And I would recommend most people do that.
Yeah, you don't have to talk to them. You're not supposed to talk to them at all.
Well, you do need to remind them that you have the right to remain silent. That gives them the reason why you're not talking to them instead of being non-compliant. If you're non-compliant, sometimes that gives them the way to continue on some of their techniques, and they do have a lot of techniques. But I said that to the FBI agents, and they basically said, "Well, you need to get an attorney," and then they left. But what was interesting about that, I did have a neighbor across the canal that she was from Omaha, and I just called her to check on her, and it wasn't an hour later that the FBI called her and started questioning her about me. So immediately that told me, okay, they're wiretapping me.
Yep.
and they're checking my calls. Of course, later, as it turned out, the cell phone companies were giving the pings, the location pings of all the people there at the Capitol. So, the FBI knew who was there and where they were and at what time. But in any case, they called a lot of my neighbors, and they asked, and they says, "Hey, what's the character of this guy? What's he like? Who's he hang out?" Interestingly enough, all of a sudden, I've got an FBI agent that lives 3 doors down from me, and it's still there. But I actually did a security check. He's not there for me.
Okay. Could just be liked your neighborhood. And
well, maybe he did. I don't know. I mean, it's a nice neighborhood, or at least it was.
Till he moved in. They run the neighborhood.
So what the neighbors say? Are you the guy on the corner that grills out every day and they smell your steak, or what they say?
Yeah. Are you the most interesting person ever?
The most interesting person never. Well, I try not to be the most interesting person. It just happens to be that I fall into controversy. I'm in a controversy right now, and I'm just trying to stay kind of away from it right now. But in any case, the January 6th thing really kind of pushed me into that lay low attitude, and because I had gotten out of a position in politics, and I was ready to spill the beans on a lot of people and be a little more active and aggressive. But the FBI kind of says, well, maybe I need to slow down. Luckily, I had a great attorney. He was our national committee man, Peter Feynman, wonderful guy. And he got another attorney there in West Palm Beach that specialized in FBI criminality. And needless to say, that was the end of the FBI. They didn't come after me anymore. But unfortunately, they did go after some other people. And you've got people that they spent 4 years in jail, and some of them never even had a trial.
That was pretty insane. Like watching that happen was actually really frightening from the perspective of an American to watch other Americans be put in jail for doing nothing, or prison for with no trial, no nothing. So after the Patriot, they can do that now.
Well, they can, and this is the first time that I've actually seen it used on citizens, and I'm like, I saw the videos. I mean, they're walking through the Capitol, they're staying behind the ropes, they're taking pictures, they're being very polite to everybody. I mean,
I was watching live.
I watched the videos. Yeah, I watched the videos after the extra footage came out, and you could see like the guards opening the doors for them. They were talking to the guards. The guards were talking to them. There's nothing hostile or crazy about it.
Well, there's not, there were some things that some guys that were doing some nefarious things, but, most of it were just, grandma and grandpa just wandering through the Capitol and taking pictures.
There's always going to be one. I don't care what any kind of gathering, whether it's even a concert, there's always going to be somebody that's going to have a set of kahunas and think they can push the limit. So hopefully any of your friends or anybody else has not had to deal with it or been released or didn't lose their life savings.
Right now the tables have really kind of turned. I did have a couple of them here in Florida that had gotten out of. I've got one gentleman up here that was a member of the Proud Boys. I was never a member of the Proud Boys, but he was put into prison, lost his he lost his house, lost his car, lost his business. He lost 4 years of not seeing his daughter grow up, and he got a commutation of his sentence. However, that's not a same as a pardon. So I mean, it still goes on the record. But I was actually going to help him do the interviews with the parolees with the Department of Justice, but the Department of Justice decided to drop the parole. And right now he's with a bunch of other guys, and they're actually trying to sue the Department of Justice for wrongful imprisonment.
Good.
I don't know where that's going to go, but like I've said in some of the previous comments, if you don't do something about these, you just encourage people to do it again.
It'll do it again.
It perpetuates itself.
That's what's insane to me is a lot of people are like, oh, when I talk about some of the things that have happened, they're like, oh, it happened. Get over it. Move on. I'm like, we can't.
No.
I'm like, we can't.
No, because then it becomes a tool in the toolbox, and they just use it over and
Mhm.
over and over again.
Yeah,
Exactly.
if we let it go, they will use it again. They will do it again. You cannot allow this. So you have to stand up and make sure. So yeah.
And it's obviously that that particular situation, and I understand they want to use that to make a bigger thing. Like you said, there was a few people that were in the wrong.
Yeah,
So,
there's
and
no doubt.
every protest that you see, California or wherever these protests are, there's some people in the wrong. But I don't see them being arrested or the FBI coming
Because
to them.
BLM happened right after that, and that was insane.
Yeah, look at all the
It's
crap
really
that's been
funny.
going on out in the other protests.
The funny thing that if you guys remembered right, there was a breach at the Capitol. And if you remember the gentleman that kind of helped do that, that was John Sullivan, who actually also was who's doing the filming inside the January 6th event and actually filmed the Ashley Babbitt film. He was the one that yelled "gun, gun, gun." But he breached the Capitol and nothing happened. You also had the same thing with the Supreme Court justices, the Kavanaugh and Barrett hearings. They broke into the doors and stopped the hearings. And you got to remember, Supreme Court, the presidency, those are all equal branches of the government. So what's really the difference there? There really shouldn't be.
Right.
So
it's obvious.
But those guys don't. Nothing happens with that, and unfortunately, life goes on. But hopefully,
if you don't mind sharing in the future about how that case goes against the DOJ, with your friends down here, so we would love to hear.
Wow, apparently
interestingly enough,
often.
the FBI has been politicized, and it's been politicized since its beginning.
Yeah. Steve in the comments said that a friend of mine was wrongfully incarcerated for 32 years. He was released after it was discovered that the FBI agent who testified against him gave false testimony, and the prosecutor was aware. Oh my God.
I can't say we haven't heard things before. Sorry, Jay, go ahead.
No, that's it's hard to hear, but in our justice system, you've got to remember the prosecutor's office is assigned to investigate guilt, not innocence. And that's kind of the way it's set up. So anytime you come in contact with the prosecutor, keep your mouth shut.
Is it a justice system or is it a legal system? Because I feel like they're two different things.
Well, justice system probably implies fairness.
Exactly.
As a good friend
think it's a legal system.
As a good friend of mine would say, fair is where you buy cotton candy. It's not in politics.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's also, they say, I don't know. Okay, so innocent until proven guilty. I really feel it's guilty until proven innocent over and over in most cases.
Yeah.
So you have to prove your innocence.
Most of them do act from that perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hopefully we get good judges and we get a fair trial.
Right.
Yeah. At least like in other countries, they actually have you're guilty until proven innocent. At least they're honest about it.
Yeah,
like in America, we like to pretend. We're just such a nation of hypocrites half the time. We like to pretend that people are innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like to float our balloons out there until somebody pops them, and all of a sudden reality sits in.
Burn her. She's a witch. Yeah, exactly.
Let's not Epstein people.
There's your next topic, Gabriel.
Oh my God, I have so many to choose from at this point.
It's just endless BS anymore out there.
It's crazy, and they've just turned it up. We have so much going on right now too.
Well, we've come through some issues here with COVID, which is something that I've never seen before. I think I wrote on that sheet. I wrote that down. And COVID is a very interesting event, and it is the largest fraud perpetrated on the people of this world. There has never been anything larger than this issue. It permeated through borders, through different countries, all levels of the population. We've never seen anything like this.
Have you ever seen a global situation, like every single government worldwide get into lockstep like they all did except on COVID, and then once again on climate change. So that should be a huge flaming red flag to everybody when they all get in line, because these are the same governments that are supposed to be competing against each other. They're supposed to be, they're declaring wars. They're fighting about nukes and all these other things, and all of a sudden they're like, yeah, we're all in it. Let's screw the people. So
it used to be where they were all nationalistic and they were all, trying to promote their own countries and their own cultures. And all of a sudden now it's like, oh, we're all on the same boat.
Right.
But yet we, the individual, we're just supposed to give and be happy with whatever they think.
Yeah.
Well, I hope your family is doing well with any of the fuckery that happened with the COVID and jabs and wherever else we go with that.
Unfortunately, my daughter got the jab. She was working at a children's hospital and they required it, but she only got one. And we attempted to educate her beyond what she thought, but my daughter is smarter than I am. At least she claims to be.
Well, I hope she's doing well.
She is doing very well. That's sometimes that's the best you can think of your kids, is that if they can grow up, get some kind of smarts in them, and actually move out of the house. That's the best. That's best you can expect. And also that they don't have to come home asking for money later on.
Well, did she move out of the house?
She did. She actually got married, and I've got a grandkid now, and it's
congratulations.
The grandkid is actually healthy, so I'm happy about that.
Good.
Awesome.
We're still involved in the politics stuff, so we're trying to make sure that things keep on the rails and they don't go off the rails like they have in the past. But anyway, go ahead, April.
I have questions.
Sure.
So do I.
It seems like we're in very, like you said, we said nefarious earlier. It seems like we're in very nefarious times with the change that's coming on. And I personally believe that COVID was not what we thought it was. It was cover to change the way we live. That's why we now are experiencing the new normal. Have you, how do I word this? Have you ever seen another time when it's been this insane and this crazy? And do you see any type of depopulation push at all?
The depopulation push, I definitely think is in the air.
And do you think that's because we're going to an AI revolution?
Boy, I don't know. Unfortunately, I was part of the AI revolution.
I have questions for that. Yes.
Okay. Well, I was part of the Bitcoin mining, which facilitated the AI server farms.
Well, that's our next question.
No, I think you're absolutely correct. I mean, there's a website. I can't remember what the website is out there, but there is a group out there that says that there is an ideal population for the Earth. I think it's like 3 billion or something like that.
Yeah.
And you all of a sudden you see all these agenda pushes. You guys mentioned transgenderism earlier. It's interesting. If you're of age and you want to go transgender, we don't care. I mean, it's just whatever floats your boats,
Yeah.
But there's this saying, comes from Roman times, cui bono, who benefits.
Yes.
And if you are pushing transgenderism on kids, boys will be girls, girls will be boys. Nice song about that, by the way. What you're actually doing is you're sterilizing kids.
Right.
But if people are come of age and they want to do that, whatever. And all of a sudden we see this big push, whether your abortion is something you pro or against, I don't care. It's the push. It's why the push. When we saw COVID, all of a sudden we saw a lot of people, elderly people, all of a sudden they got pushed into remdesivir, even whether they needed it or not. Had a good friend of mine, his dad passed away of liver failure, never had liver failure.
Our friend's husband did that.
Yeah,
too.
our friend's husband.
And you look at what the results of all these activities are, and population decline.
Yeah.
And now we don't know with effects of the vaccine, what that's going to explode into.
Starting to explode into giving it to animals and other things and our plants. The technology anyway.
But I think it's it's an agenda thing. I think your population control is definitely there. It implements it into several different ways. Some you see, some you don't. COVID was, like I said, was extremely overt. You saw it in a big way. Also in your foods, you look at the way the American food diet is. My wife is Russian, so I mean I've been over there, and it's the way they do their food is completely
So
different.
Yeah.
It is, in America, it's almost like, they want you to have cancer.
Yes. I say that all the time. Yep. Our food is the food everywhere else is so different than what we're passing off as food and feeding our children.
Yeah. I don't know if it was you, was it you that posted all the different ingredients from other countries with the same product in the United States?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we have all these funny, you can't even pronounce the damn things or what's in your food.
And what's interesting is that to export these ingredients, and hello everybody joining us late, thank you for being here. What's interesting is that our food companies will clean up these products to ship them overseas and send them to Canada and England and Germany and everywhere else, the clean versions, but they feed us the shitty tainted toxic versions. But those other countries have universal health care, so they have a vested interest in preventative care. They don't want their people getting sick. It costs them money to be sick. So for us, disease made in America is very profitable. And you have the Food and Drug Administration together to make sure that happens.
Cured patient is a lost patient.
That's right.
Right on.
And by the way, we're not patients, we're customers. There's a difference.
Well, that is true. Unfortunately, I think our trust in the healthcare system is still languishing. I still find myself questioning what they tell you. And by the way, good article on the statin thing. You posted that today, and that got me thinking. So I'm unfortunately conspiracy theories now are coming true.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're starting to take these a little bit more to heart. I don't believe every conspiracy theory that I hear, but I do keep it in the back of my mind. And when the evidence comes forth, all of a sudden I realize this could be true. It was the weather modification thing for a while, and I was thinking, I don't know about that. And after a while, it's like, okay, yeah.
Don't you know I'm ahead of my time with all this? I've been talking about this stuff for years, but yeah, gabapentin and the statins, you really, really have to watch them. If you dig past the Google stuff and you really start looking, and if you're willing to look at the medical papers, the real medical research, and even translate it from other languages, like that's what I do on like PubMed and things like that, you'll find the real information there. And there's some stuff that they're hiding from us. So because it's so profitable. So like I said,
it's also opposite of what the agenda you hear that they're pushing on news and so forth.
Right.
So when you actually start looking, so it goes back to that whole debate and being informed. Actually. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Who benefits?
Right. That's why they rolled the numbers back in the 80s. So they could prescribe more statins. So our cholesterol numbers used to be a lot higher. This is healthy. Now they rolled it back to here so they can prescribe more drugs. And in doing so, they have created a memory.
I thought I felt better in the 80s. Yeah, you're right.
It was a blow. It was a blow in the meaningless music. Hey,
there you go. Just have fun.
You could just smoke
the
cigarettes
80s were a
and
good
feel
time.
great.
I got to admit that.
It was, right? It was a fun time. And so it's funny.
Of course, now they're playing the music like it's oldie music, and I'm like, God, come on, I'm not ready for that.
No.
I can't wait to listen to an oldies channel and hear, me so horny. Me so horny. Welcome to the oldies channel.
Yeah, that's right. That's fine. I'll take that shit.
Yep. I'll be like, this station rocks.
Exactly. Jay, one of the talking points that you had on there, which we're probably pretty much touched on it, is it's all about controlling the agenda.
Oh, yeah.
So the following the money, like you had mentioned there, it if we follow it from, let's say, a politician standpoint, you nice. There you go. 80s hairdos. Right.
That's
Somebody said
80s
they
look.
whisper.
Wait, where's
Right.
your Aquanet, by the way? You can do it. That's actually not a bad look. You're almost there. Keep going.
Yeah, right. The big hair look. There you go.
Anyway, sorry. Ask
was
that
good.
question.
Now-
I wanted to hear that too.
Nope, go.
So anyway, you mentioned the agenda, and you know the name of the game in politics is control the agenda. I mean, basically, if you control the agenda, you control the oxygen in the room. You starve out everything else. So when people get into office, or you see, I hate to say regime change, but you see a change in office, pay attention to the agenda, because what happens is that the old things that they were talking about all of a sudden go away, and all of a sudden the new things, they're all of a sudden bringing all these new things in here, and this is where they're pushing an issue, and all of a sudden you get people arguing back and forth on this issue, and it's like, hey guys, wait a minute. Did anybody stop to think why we're arguing about this? Why this all of a sudden became an issue? And somebody's trying to push legislation or a change in regulation that's probably not going to be to your benefit. But anytime there's a change like that, pay attention to the change, because that's telling you, something's not right here, and buckle your seatbelt. Something's going to happen. I'm kind of watching that with the Trump administration. I mean, yeah, I was a delegate for Trump, but trust me, you still got to watch it, because things can happen. Because a lot of politicians, they still respond to money, they still respond to lobbyists, and realistically, politicians really care about one thing, and that's getting reelected, and that takes money.
Yeah, I think the business breeds. I don't want to say breeds sociopaths or psychopaths, because that would be. I don't want to. I mean, I
don't know. I know them. You're pretty close.
Okay, so I think it pulls in a certain type of person.
Yes, it does.
Who finds that attractive, that lifestyle attractive.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you did say, Jay, that politicians are crazy. I did.
They are.
Like hairstylists, nail tech crazy.
I could tell you guys stories.
Hair
But I can't say too many things. But if you're watching, the news as to what these people do behind closed doors, they're crazy. They really are, and they like the limelight. They like the attention. They like it that they can go to a restaurant and somebody's going to buy them dinner all the time. They like people coming on to them. They like the attention. It's really kind of crazy. But you're basically you're the rock star, and everybody's wants a piece of you.
Wow, I see her hair is like a rock star. I
No,
have one last question on that, Jay, if you don't mind. I'm sorry, April.
Sure, no, go for it.
What should we be looking out for, like right now? Anything
Yes.
that they're pushing through that we need to really dig into in our area, kind of thing.
And flags and things to pay attention to. I was going to.
It's kind of funny. You look at where you are right now. We've got a good government. We actually do have it fairly good.
Even with Palantir and all that.
The best politician is the one that does nothing. Because if they're doing something, it's probably not for you. They're doing it for somebody else. So if you're watching just about any kind of movement, it's going to probably bring some kind of pain to somebody somewhere. I mean, if you're in the state of Florida, I mean, right now they're talking about getting rid of the millage rates and dropping property taxes. I don't know if you guys have read that.
I have.
I was actually in Orlando this weekend and listening to Toby Oberdorf talk about that. He's on the committee to put that on the ballot. And I just sat there and I'm like, you're freaking crazy. I mean, they have this argument, and April, to your point, this is where people, you can argue both sides. And the one side is that, well, you've paid enough taxes in your lifetime to own your property. You don't need to be paying more taxes to keep your property.
But they're going to get it from somewhere else.
So, I mean, that's, it's a valid argument. But then when you start to realize what those taxes go for, well, hey, they pay for your police department. They pay for your fire department, 911 services, all of your city services, your county services, your schools. And, when they were talking about it, they says, well, all of the millage rates of the cities, it comes up to about $40 billion here in the state of Florida. But the state of Florida is 120 billion on their budget. Well, shoot, guys, why don't you start with the big ticket items? You can actually make more of a difference. And I'll bet, a lot of the services that you use and you look, it's county services. It's local services. I mean, can you imagine Florida without mosquito control? You wouldn't be here.
No. I live in the woods.
That's a funny thing, because it's always been said without air conditioning and mosquito control, Florida would be nothing. And
Yeah, it's not inhabitable. We have a fan question here. Can I ask it?
Okay. Oh, absolutely. Please ask anything. I'm an open book on this stuff.
Alex is asking, speaking of Trump, didn't he just screw over PBS?
He might have. I think that there was a defunding of PBS because of their political leanings. Truth be known, I mean, after
is that
Trump,
petty, or is
he'll
that
probably come back. It could be petty, yeah.
Okay.
I think a lot of it has to do with, PBS got political, and anytime you have government staff that gets political, they become subject to the whims of politics. When I was in office, I basically told the staff, I says, if it's political, do not get involved. If you get involved, you're going to get fired, because, chances are you might be right today. You're going to probably be wrong tomorrow. And once you start ticking off the people that run the show, they're going to fire you. And I think that's probably what happened with PBS, is they got a little bit too politically involved.
And a lot of children's channels.
Yeah, and they got axed. Does it mean that it'll never come back again? Knowing how government works, yeah, it'll probably come back again, and it maybe be called something else, but I'm sure it'll come back again.
There is another question out there as well.
Sure.
How do you feel about term limits?
It's funny, if you don't like somebody, you want term limits. If you like somebody, you want to keep them around. I can tell you a funny story about this. Politicians are very smart when it comes to survivability. Everybody thinks term limits will, you serve your terms and then you're disqualified and you can't go on. We had a gal that was serving in the legislature that was close to being term limited. She decided to quit. She quit on her final term. The governor appointed somebody temporarily, and then all of a sudden she ran for office again for another 4 years. And everybody says, "Well, wait a minute, you're term limited out." And she says, "Oh no, I didn't finish my last term, so I get another 4 years."
Wow.
And because of the name recognition, you hardly had to campaign and just walked right in. So I mean, there's we have this intention that we're going to get rid of politicians that have been around too long. But unfortunately, politicians, they're weasels. They'll find a way to stay in.
Not you, though.
Nice.
You're not that.
Well, I have a lot of people that probably said maybe I was. However,
you have evolved past that now.
We are who we are.
I want to know where your ice cream shops are.
Ice cream, Carlisle, Pennsylvania, and Shippensburg. So we've got them up there. I've also got one here in Vero Beach, but it's Rita's Italian Ice. So you guys are the Philly type. So hey, it's water ice.
It is water ice. I had that for dinner the other day in Philadelphia. So
I had
absolutely.
Ice cream.
So up there we do the custard, we do the water ice, and we do the pretzels.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I ate pretzel again today. Yeah.
Yep.
Brought back pretzels.
I had the pretzel yesterday for breakfast. We even got them and brought them down.
They're not the best for you, but they are.
I don't care. Yeah, you don't get them that often. I had cheesesteaks for breakfast.
I saw that in your picture and I was like, holy cow, I want that.
Man, my sister makes a mean freaking cheesesteak. So much better you can get in a store. So anyway, I'm done bragging for the moment.
In a younger day, I probably would have ate a lot of it, but
I think that
we pay for it now.
Yeah, but still, it's worth it once in a while. So,
but in any case,
get back up there? Yes.
We have to live with the politics, and I put on that list. If you don't get involved, you will be a victim of politics, and that's if I've got one thing that I want to say to everybody is that that's it. If you don't get involved, you're going to be the victim. you've got to get involved. And remember, these are just ordinary people. It's really funny. I've got friends of mine that are in Congress, and that's gone into the Senate. They really are just ordinary people, and it's just a roll of the dice. Sometimes the people that are most successful are just the ones that tried. They tried for office, they got it, there they are. But they're ordinary people. You can talk to them, and you need to keep in touch with them.
April's ordinary, aren't you ordinary?
I'm very ordinary.
Yeah, April, you should run for office. That'd be fun.
No, I should not.
Oh shit!
No, I should.
Oh my
not.
gosh! You get a pension, you get health care, you get a salary. I mean, what's not to like?
You get abused. You get everything dragged through. There'll be endless pictures of my tits hanging out everywhere. Well, I mean, there's that anyway.
That's true. I mean, I'm still pulling the knives out of my back, but
yeah, exactly. So, I hate people too. I really do. I like a person, but I hate people. So, yeah. So,
well, in politics, you just have to pretend that you like people. You don't have to really like them.
I'm not good at pretending anything, to be honest with you. I can smile when I'm not happy. I'm really good at that. That's about it. That's as far as it goes. Hey, Winona has a good comment. She said similar happened with TikTok people who were doing their own independent research to spread the truth, and the powers that be didn't like that. It was never about a breach in information. Our own government uses our personal information all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, they actually tried to weaponize the term and, do your own research. They tried to make people, make that one a stupid one, but I don't think it worked out. So
it's like follow the science.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, just to stay on that a second, because I know, Eva, you talked about AI, and you
I'm
talked
going
about
there.
terms. But there's a lot of truth to that. I mean, I ran data centers, and I'm watching these new data collection centers. I mean, they're massive. And they're grabbing all this information. They're reading your stuff.
They're scraping it.
And exactly, they're scraping it. They're interpreting it. And all of a sudden, bang, you are categorized. You're in a corner. And they control who sees you and where you can go.
Not only that, we're now subjected to classes, basically. So according to like where you live, your zip code and your race, so you may get a different plane fare or pay a different price for your Amazon delivery than, say, I would.
Oh,
so, right. So so depending on where you live and your income level, which AI already knows, and all of that, where you're located, they may class you as somebody willing to pay $8 more for your food delivery or your Amazon delivery, or $80 more for your flight. Exactly. So that's what we're dealing with. And Steve said, speaking of AI, Palantir stocks skyrocketed today.
Yep.
So
Palantir,
guy work made some good money on that today.
It's going to be a real issue.
They got a government contract.
Yeah, it's going to be a real issue, and it's messed up.
Yeah, I actually wrote a short story called Adaptive AI, which basically focuses on that. And I don't think a lot of us really understand how much information we're broadcasting just on a daily basis. Your cell phones, I mean, they're pinging. They've got Wi-Fi. They've got Bluetooth. Your car has Bluetooth. That can all be picked up. Your credit cards, they've got the chips in there. Your cars now have the chips for the tolls. So I mean, you can just you can be just walking around, and then all of a sudden, I'm trying to think of that movie with Tom Cruise where they scan the eyes, and all of a sudden stuff changes as you're walking down.
Vanilla Sky. Minority Report.
Okay, Minority. Okay, well, anyway, it was one of those.
Precog, right? Precog.
But the yeah, it was. Okay, so he had to change his eyes. But the point of the matter is that as you walk through life, you're broadcasting your identity, and then that identity gets cross-referenced with AI, and they can say, well, what's your ability to pay? And then the retailer can say, well, I don't want to leave any money on the table. This guy can pay more money, so I'm going to raise the prices immediately. And I've got a scene in there where the guy is at a gas pump, and all of a sudden the price changes. And the guy says, "Oh, did you see that?" And then the guy with driving the fancy car across the way there says, "Well, get used to it." And it's like it's going to change. The prices are going to change as you walk through life.
Yeah, we are in for a hell of a ride. And I think it's more important than ever now to start embracing privacy. I think people as much as possible.
Sorry.
Meaning leave your phone behind when you go out sometimes, start figuring out old school maps and other alternative ways. So
yes. And Jay, how did you get involved in that? How do you feel now that you're building centers and here we are?
That's kind of an interesting thing. I mean, AI has been around. It's been around for about 40 years, because I remember studying in college. That was probably about 35 years ago. But as computing came along, and all of a sudden the Bitcoin technology came on, which built upon graphic cards, which basically AI is the same thing in reverse. It detects patterns. It detects, it takes video and puts things together. And it can also do the same thing with audio. I kind of helped create the devil, so to speak. Yeah, right.
See that one?
Yeah.
But I was there at the beginning of the internet. I mean, if it's been on the internet, I've done it, and I can tell you that the AI is probably the most dominant thing that's coming out of the internet era right now, other than the connectivity. Pretty much everything else on the internet's kind of died down, but the AI side of it's really one thing that's really still pretty hot.
How do you feel about that you were part of it?
If it wasn't me, it would have been somebody else. I mean, that's a cop out. Yes, I get that.
I tried a second question in there.
It's like I could have. If it wasn't me, it wasn't somebody else. I was nobody special. I was just there for the ride. I mean, knowing now what I if I could have gone back, I probably could have made a hell of a lot more money and did a lot better. But it was just it was a ride. You didn't know where it was going to go. You just knew what the latest and greatest was for the next 6 months. And when you're talking about bleeding edge technology, you're surviving month to month. And if you didn't adapt and bring on the new technology, you just got left behind. Which I hate to say, it was probably why I got out of it, because if you weren't in technology for 6 months to a year, all of a sudden you just couldn't catch up, because it was always changing.
What do you think how the impact's going to be for like your grandchild?
People need to learn to disconnect. It's technology needs to be put in its place. It's a tool. Mm-hmm. You use it as a tool. But there's something to be said for putting technology down and just taking a quiet walk in the woods, or, spending time with somebody walking, down the street, and leave the technology behind. Somewhere humanity's still got to be valued.
This gets us in trouble.
Okay,
so, it's somebody even put this up earlier. Great quote, Steve says. Mm-hmm. Orwell almost got it right with his book 1984. Cameras are everywhere. What he missed is that we're willfully carrying the cameras and sharing the details of our lives.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I mean, we've all heard the stories that we talk about something, and then we go on to Google, and all of a sudden Google shows advertising of what we just talked about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no shit.
It's like, yeah, they're listening in on you. I remember going through the January 6th stuff, and when I was making calls with my attorneys, I wasn't using the cell phone. I put it in the other room. And I've got a friend of mine that when we talk January 6th stuff, we leave the cell phones in the car and go inside and talk, over coffee.
Yeah, you need a Faraday bag.
Yeah, we do.
Faraday cage.
A Faraday cage,
we
talk about these kind of things. But in any case, no, I was gonna say earlier, I got a friend of mine that knows this stuff inside and out. It's like he actually knows in January 6th who got the payouts, who actually was tasked with doing this stuff. I guess the gal that was head of the DC police was given a reward of going to California to be an adjunct professor. And the first day she got there, she filed for a leave of absence, but still gets paid indefinitely. It's amazing the amount of money a lot of people get paid to do this stuff. And there was also a lot of officers and captains that were kind of in on this too. But he's done a deep dive on it, and I'm always amazed. I watch C-SPAN and it's him in the background. It's funny. But the world is, I hate to say it, the world is probably a much more corrupt place than what you think.
I think it's pretty fucked.
It is. I hate to say that. And sometimes the best way to handle it is to tune it out.
Yep.
And
play with your pets and go
do
for
your
a
own
walk.
thing.
And that's why that's the whole reason for doing this show. Really, my hair is just going to continually be like that. The whole reason for doing this show. Yeah, exactly.
Your dog's in a great mood, and he's not watching the news.
I know. He's right here. He's sitting right next to me. He's sleeping, and he has no problem sleeping. None. None.
But we do.
He doesn't toss and turn. He doesn't give a shit. He sees everything as a toilet. So everything.
Wait, that's trash dog. Everything to him
trash
is also
dog
food.
sitting right here. So, but I mean, the reason we started doing this podcast is because of all the, I even hate that term disinformation, but all the bad information and deception that was going on, and how censored everything was in 2020. I was getting so frustrated. I was having all my stuff taken down. I was getting blocked everywhere. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I can't believe the amount of people that are falling for this bullshit. And they're going to, this is life or death. This is going to be bad. So we just started the podcast. It's like, all right, this is what's the real deal is. You don't have to listen to me. You don't have to take what I say for verbatim, but do run with this. Go look it up on your own. So,
but this was a neat thing about that is that this is not a Democrat Republican thing. This was something that, you're trying to change our life. I don't like it. I don't like what you're doing. I don't care what your political ideology is, but you're starting to affect me. And I don't like that. I remember going into stores. Oh, you got to wear a mask. Well, who the hell are you to tell me about my health care? I try to give blood. Oh, you didn't take the vaccine. Well, you got to wear a mask, I'm like, well, okay, I'm not going to give blood to you anymore. You get tired of getting treated like a second-class citizen because, you're not doing something that is complete baloney.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
when they get medical care.
Right.
No, I remember one winter, she and I and our friend had the worst bronchitis ever. She had it so bad she was coughing and broke her rib. I had it where I would collapse on the floor, and one of our friends was like, "You need to go to the hospital," but we couldn't because we weren't vaccinated.
Right.
So she got kicked out. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Kicked me out.
Yeah. So, and I've had COVID a couple of times. I've never had COVID. Like I've had bronchitis.
I had it once. Yeah.
Yeah. But they wouldn't, they wouldn't let you come in. They wouldn't let you do the sputum test. They wouldn't let you do the breathing, nothing.
I mean, how do they know what to give you if they can't even check your lungs?
No.
They're like, we'll give you this, this, and this. I'm telling you, got bronchitis. How do you know? How do I fucking know? Why don't you feel it?
They've never closed down for bronchitis, though.
Right.
So now that they want a pandemic agreement to go through so they can start another pandemic. You know how that goes.
Yeah, screw them.
That was their desire for control, and like I say, I've never seen that spread widespread action. And what's really interesting. If you want to look at something, do you guys ever remember the Prime Minister of New Zealand? She resigned.
She was what?
She resigned.
Yes. But I remember the beginning how that went.
To my knowledge, she is probably one of the only people that, out of ethical reasons, she resigned the prime ministership of New Zealand because she knew COVID and the measures of COVID was wrong, and couldn't live with it, and she resigned.
Wow.
And there's very few people that actually stood up to that.
Yes.
For the exception maybe Japan. Japan really kind of did it right.
And there was another one in Africa too, and I think both of them ended up dead.
Yeah. And Japan is where they did a lot of the studies that proved that the more you vaccinate, the greater chance of death you have.
Yeah, and that's usually where I get a lot of my medical information from too. I'll just translate it. They're one of the few places that are putting it out there.
Yeah, well, that's where ivermectin came from. It got discovered on a golf course there in
what a great thing
in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And that was very, it's funny. You had a reasonable, something that was reasonable in preventing COVID, and they fought against it.
Yeah, they demonized it.
I think that was a turning point where you realized it was screwed up.
Well, they were telling you it was for your health, and then they were giving you donuts and French fries to take it. and then blocking everything, blocking anything that was actually
And
long-term
taking a
tested
statin,
and
yeah.
safe. Yeah, exactly. So do you know why they demonized ivermectin?
I would imagine its efficacy was probably pretty good.
No, because
Yes,
they couldn't make
and-
money on it.
No,
Well, they could.
but-
Yeah,
well,
it was a non off-schedule drug, right?
well, you guys are very, very close. There were two reasons. First off, they signed a contract with Pfizer,
Mhm.
and you could not get emergency use authorization if there was another option. So if ivermectin was proven to work and it had efficacy, they could not get that vaccine through. They already signed a contract with Pfizer to use nothing but the vaccine. So they had to demonize ivermectin as the worst shit ever. It's horse warmer, so that they could not get it in this country. And they told prescribers not to prescribe it as well.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
they
it'd
were
be really
losing
interesting.
jobs.
Would be if we found one of those contracts that, because Pfizer, all these vaccine companies made contracts with countries to distribute the vaccines in those countries. It'd be interesting to find one of those contracts and see what the conditions were.
The wording
to
was.
do that. And I bet privacy was probably one of them.
Well, one of the things was Pfizer tried to make that contract with India, and India wanted a third-party testing to make sure there's no nanotechnology in the vaccinations. And Pfizer pulled out. They said, never mind.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So India largely used a lot of ivermectin. Matter of fact, they sent home kits, COVID kits, and ivermectin was part of that.
That should have been something that they did, is pass out something that was more preventative or helpful. Even the fact that they never gave us vitamins or said anything to help us keep our health up so we wouldn't get sick with flu or whatever it was going around.
They could have taken
literally,
they could have taken just a little percentage of that budget, of that wash your hands and stand 6 feet apart budget, and put in just a little bit of that massive marketing campaign and said, hey, here's how you raise your immune system. Eat fresh fruits and vegetables, manage your stress, do a 20-minute workout, get in the sun for 20 minutes a day without sunscreen, do these, certain things. They were not interested in any of that. It was just get vaccinated.
And then there's J&J, how
Johnson.
they were not mRNA. Go figure. And then
they were pushed out of the market. They were pushed out of the market by Pfizer and Moderna.
Yeah.
Well, they were considered to be the less abrasive of the vaccines. I think also you had AstraZeneca in there as well. But J&J was considered, if you didn't want to take a vaccine and you had to, you took the J&J.
Right.
Right on.
And to this day, hardly anybody has any side effects from J&J, but they demonized that as the worst thing ever. Nothing, blood clots. I think 7 people had a blood clot, and all of the people that took it. And then I did an interview with some pharmacists, and they said that even though they were ordering the doses of J&J, they were not getting them. That Pfizer and Moderna were the only things coming through, that they were pushing J&J out. That they themselves were only taking J&J.
Well, there's also reports that different batches had different ingredients too.
Yeah.
Australia, they were giving specific batches to healthcare workers and then giving a different batch to the general public.
Yeah.
Which raises an eyebrow.
I think we got a different version here in America too. I believe there were 3 different versions in America, and the one that got EUA was not the ones that we got, from what I understand.
I think there was independent testing on a bunch of that they found so many varieties, and also in some areas they weren't even able to get a breakdown of what was in it. They weren't telling you. They didn't have to, because it was under that blanket of emergency use.
Oh my God! Have you guys ever seen the bottle that the vaccine comes in, and they have that little paper in there
it's blank where the ingredients are.
The whole thing is blank, but normally it's this big disclaimer. And with the COVID vaccine, it was completely blank.
Yeah.
Why do they think they even put it in there? I don't know.
Well, they asked for something like 75 years to release the information, the trials, and the all the information. So that's another huge red flag. So
yeah, it is. We can't. That's as long as the Kennedy files. I mean,
yeah. The thing that blew my mind is a lot of people that I knew, like friends of mine, who would never eat anything more than 5 ingredients in their food, and they would never go out and buy the first generation iPhone. They ran right up and rolled up their sleeves, and quite a few of them are dead now.
That's too
So,
bad.
Or they were
It
sick
really-
over and over and over.
Yeah, it really affected healthy people the most, I think. People who were really because the mRNA, I believe, was never meant to be used as a vaccine. It was definitely not meant to be given to healthy people.
You're absolutely right. I actually, like I said before, I talked to Robert Malone about that at CPAC in Orlando, and that's exactly what he said. He said, if you're an elderly, maybe take it, but if you're healthy, don't even consider it.
Yeah, it was made for cancer. So if you're not sick, if you don't have something for it to do, because it's programmed, basically, it's a messenger ribonucleic acid. If it doesn't have something, if it doesn't have an ass to kick, it's going to create a problem. So that's why healthy people started dropping dead.
No,
They were
good
too, it started creating problems, and it would go right after, heart, blood clots.
But here, I've got something interesting. I mean, you mentioned Kennedy, and I'm going to kind of segue over to like Robert F. Kennedy, or Rob, was it? Who's the guy for the FDA now?
RFK.
RFK.
I get them messed up too.
Yeah, but anyway, here's an interesting thing on a political thing. When was the last time you ever saw a president appoint because you have Tulsi Gabbard and you got RFK, two other members who had ran for president against them, and then appoint them to cabinet positions? You've never seen that.
A lot, I think. Yeah.
But I've got, Robert F. Kennedy or RFK is actually doing a pretty darn good job. We have those ice cream stores. No more of these food dyes. I mean, we used to have people come to our counter and say, these food dyes are bad. They do things. They're petroleum based. You shouldn't be having them in your Italian ice. And RFK, along with going after the vaccines, has actually gone after food dyes as well. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, when we get our mixes, they don't have those food dyes anymore. I mean, you've actually seen a good positive change there.
That's good. I wish he had more people that help him that were like-minded instead of go against him.
Yeah, I wish I would unleash him.
Yes, exactly. And give him a whole crew of people to unleash on. There's so much to be done. Yeah. One person can't do it all. So I know he's got a team and blah, 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 but he needs more help.
He's got a
he's
$1 billion industry.
People that cause problems, but there's when people come into some of these positions, you kind of get this ray of hope that, oh my gosh, we've got somebody that actually gives a crap. And it seems like he's actually doing something that is actually good for the public in general, and they're going after the medical establishment, which probably needs
that.
Yeah, that's why there's a $1 billion industry going against him. And I see all the AI bots out there going, oh, he's got brain worms. And it's like, oh my God, get over yourself. Seriously.
Anything else that we have for Jay? Jay, you have anything you want to share with us? Or?
Oh gosh, if you guys are talking politics, I can go on forever. So I mean, I just, like I said, I mean, last weekend I was, at an event, and I probably spent till about almost, 1 a.m. talking to lobbyists and reminiscing on some of the interesting issues that we had when we were in government and on council. But I can tell you, it's pretty wild. I think the public does not really see the full picture, and when you're on the inside, it's people are not treated the best. It's like the old mushroom things. You're just you're fed the bologna and kept in the dark. And you tell the people what you want. You tell them talking points. Rah rah rah. You either get them excited for your party or you get them angry about the other party. And that's basically the formula in a nutshell. Angry people are very motivated. They're easy to move. They're easy to react in the direction that you want them to. Actually, I think I wrote this down that the hardest people to get to do something are people at peace. And
that's
true.
Peace sells,
but who's buying? Peace, you don't react. You think.
I know somebody that when they're angry, they write a lot. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's a good picture with DeSantis.
Oh gosh.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we stalked you, by the way.
Yeah, we're still stalking you.
Here's an interesting story about that. Okay, so here's a picture that my chairwoman is there. My wife is there in the end.
Yeah, she's a hottie. You leveled up.
Yeah.
This is hilarious. So we're listening to Ron DeSantis, and he's giving a speech. And one of the things that I do when I'm around big figures is that I don't watch the figure. I watch the people around.
Mm-hmm.
And he's complaining because, we've got a Republican supermajority. We should be able to do this, and we should be able to, these things should pass through. And of course, the problem is that it doesn't matter whether it's Republican or Democrat. It's the lobbyists that control everything. Mm-hmm. And so he's complaining about it. And of course, I'm looking to the right, and I'm looking at the party chairman, who happens to be a lobbyist. And the guy couldn't play poker to save his life. I mean, he's just kind of like him hawing around, looking around, smiling. I'm like, yeah, I get it. I know what's going on. And so, the governor can't get anything through. And then finally he comes after the speech. And I think the other gal in there is Sandra. She's one of our Hispanic gals. It's pretty big. And she goes up to him and goes, who are these rhinos? Let's get rid of them. We just need to get out there and get rid of them, get them out of office. And the governor turns around, and I've never seen him do this. And he goes, get rid of them all. Oh my gosh. He was really adamant that, he's frustrated, but the governor I like, is a good guy. I know sometimes you've had issues where you don't agree with a guy, but keep in mind, when you're the governor, you really are not really weighing in on all the issues. There's just way too many things to cognitively keep track of. So, I mean, don't always give the governor grief because you don't agree with him. He's probably didn't even really give it much thought in the first place.
Yeah. He did a good job here with COVID. Not so good with handling land.
Yeah.
I think I remember the you're talking about the golf course issue
Mm-hmm.
in Palm Beach or in Jupiter.
Yeah. Well,
I wonder if that was one of his people that did that.
I guess he was selling 17 state parks for golf courses, and
that might have been a lobbyist that wrote that. Usually, what happens it's politics is the great sausage making process. Mm-hmm. You will put forth maybe a couple of items that you want to go, and then all of a sudden, when it goes out to vote, you find out that the lobbyists and other people have added on maybe 5 or 6 issues onto that. Mm-hmm. And in Florida, your biggest issue is developers. They need land, and they want to grab land as much as they possibly can.
Yeah, it's our most invasive species, land developers.
Florida's closed. The same.
Well, it's going to keep going. Density is a big issue.
It's so bad here. Like, stop moving. It's not the people moving here. It's the developing here. That's why it's so freaking hot now. It's why we're flooding everywhere. Everything's concrete and asphalt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely.
There's homes if they look and just and maybe focus on repurposing. Right.
Right.
Well, there's great homes up in Georgia. There's nothing wrong with that.
Alabama.
Yeah.
But a lot of us are just trying to fight to keep some ambiance and some of the beautifulness that we have of Florida.
Well, don't drown out our homes because you want concrete and asphalt, and we have to have the water runs off to us. Like, fuck off. Sorry, I just have no. It just happened.
Well, if you've been here long enough,
all to Alcatraz.
You see what Florida used to be. I remember I came down to Florida when I was 13 years old. I lived in Iowa at the time, and I came down here for Christmas break. And Florida it was really rural. You could. I remember driving over to Daytona Beach, and it was like, well, it was completely trees, and from Orlando over to Daytona Beach, and now gosh, Interstate 4 is just packed like it's beyond belief.
It's stupid. We're full of stupid people.
Dangerous.
It's the most dangerous, deathly highway in the entire country. We have the highest car insurance rates. And when I moved here, the average summer temperature was like 88 degrees. Now it's 94, 95 because of all this radiating heat. It's dumb. Like, get out.
Well, it's true. A lot of the energy can't get absorbed into the ground through trees or foliage. Right. It's, fortunately we've got some water that absorbs that, but still, it just rains. We're
having droughts now. Sorry, I'll tell you how I really feel one of these days.
I think he knows. I think he reads your posts.
Yeah, I know. Well, we don't want to keep you too long, but what else? Is there anything that you would like to bring awareness to, or that you feel strongly about?
I think I've already said it. If you don't get involved in politics, you're going to be the victim.
Okay.
I think people need to keep their voices known. Write letters to the paper. Write letters, that they get published out there. A lot of the politicians do have events. Go to those events, and don't protest the events. If you protest, the shield comes up. But just talk. Just talk normal to them and ask them their positions. And it's very important that people get involved. Once the politicians realize that the people are important. And here's an interesting thing. When I was on council, it really irritated me that when you ran for office and you campaigned, people talked to you. People talked issues. People said, I really feel strongly about this. We should do this. And all of a sudden you get elected and everybody disappears. I'm like, wait a minute. You guys wanted some of this stuff to happen. We have the time, we have the opportunity to establish an agenda, get something moving, get staff to start preparing something for, to bring forward, and people disappear. And it was really, really irritating.
That's interesting.
And, I'm telling you, local, if you guys are really concerned about local issues, and especially like trees, roads, you've got city councils. These are people that you can actually go in there. You can drive for 15 minutes. You can go into city council and you can talk to them. And you know what? They'll probably listen to you. And the people that I used to listen to the most were the people that would get up there and they would stammer and they wouldn't know what to say and they would be nervous. Because what happens is that all of a sudden you realize that issue is so important that they're getting out of their comfort zone and they're getting up there and they're talking. And I can tell you, if you got some slick lawyer up there and the words just roll off the tongue and they're real eloquent, it's like, come on, man, you're getting paid to do this. Why should I listen to you? But somebody that steps out of their comfort zone and goes and does that, that's important.
Cool.
So
thank you.
And seriously, start with local government, because these are the people that handle the zoning issues. These are the issues, code enforcement. I don't know if you guys have been involved with code enforcement. It's probably one of the worst things that local government does. But if you want more trees, hey, when I was in local government, we used unused land that's the city owned, and we planted oak trees. And then later, we when the storms blew over a tree or something like that, we replaced it, and it didn't cost very much. But there are different things that you can do to make the world a better place. And unless you tell the government or you tell the politicians to make it a better place, they're just going to enjoy the party and move along. Exactly.
That's really good advice. Thank you.
That is. Thank you. So,
well, I hope I don't end up reading about you, getting the police escort out of the chambers, if you guys get too rowdy, but
you never know.
I missed the last commissioner's one about trees over here. That I'm mad about all that.
But the commissioners, I don't know I know you guys, your general area. Actually, I know a couple of commissioners over there. In fact, I think one of them used to be our party chairman. There was an issue with that. You could probably look that one up. That's kind of a funny one. But the commissioners, they're approachable. Come on. You guys going to approach a congressperson? Probably not. Although I do have an event with a congressperson this weekend, but the normal person doesn't get to do that. They don't get that access. Your county commissioners, your city councils, you can approach them. You can talk to them. You can call them up and say, hey, you got some office time? I want to sit down with you for 30 minutes. Okay. They should be able to give it to you.
I remember that. Thank you. That's great advice.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I can go on, but I'm going to, if there is a takeaway, get involved, because if you don't get involved, you're the victim.
I like that.
Awesome.
That's a good
Thank
one.
you.
That's a tweetable.
It is.
That's a tweetable. Well, thank you for your time. Eva, do you have anything else to add? Okay.
All right. Well,
thank you. Thank you,
Jay. My opinion is exactly what it's worth. So anytime.
Yeah, I would love to have you back on one day to pick your brain some more.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you for tonight. Thank you for making time for us. We appreciate it.
All right, ladies. It was an enjoyment.
Yeah, thank you. And if anybody is live tonight, we are doing a pre-tape tomorrow night, Wednesday night, with Ray. So it'll be late. It'll be after 10 o'clock, but you're welcome to join us. I'll put more about it on Twitter. That's Twitter, April Hunter, let you know. But we would love to have you sit in with us, because we have to pre-tape for the following week. So if you want to be exclusively and part of that show, we will have you with us. So anyway, Jay Kramer, thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you very much. So thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, everybody joining us, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here. And if you can't be with us tonight or can't be with us tomorrow night, like I said, you're invited. But we will see you next Tuesday, and you can also catch.
By the
me
way,
on-
April, if you could do me a favor,
Sure.
next time you have your show, could you get one of those romper room magic window glasses when you say all the names? It just every time I see you do that, that just remind. I don't know if you're old enough to remember that.
No, what is that?
Oh my gosh! Okay, you're gonna have to Google it. Romper room.
Okay.
It's familiar to me.
It basically when the show starts, a gal holds up a mirror, and then all of a sudden she's looking through it and goes, "Oh, I see this, I see this, I see this." If you Google it up, it's hilarious because I mean you do the same
I
thing.
see cool, awesome dude. I see Alex.
Eva, you got it?
Alex. I have to do
I
it like that.
found
I see
it.
Big Wig.
Yep,
I see Maurizio. Applausi.
Yep.
Grazia.
Yep. I remember that. I'm gonna.
All
send
right,
it
I'll
over.
have to try that.
Thanks,
I need one of
There you
those.
go.
So,
All right, ladies.
all right, Winona, Brian, I see everybody. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Like I said, if you can't be with us, you can visit me on patreon.com, April Hunter. I will be there. I'll put more details on Twitter, April Hunter, and hasta pronto. We'll see you next Tuesday. Mwah. Mwah. Thank you. Yeah.